Hey, what's going on, y'all? I just wanted to tap in and make a like an extended length kind of video talking about Mirror House and talking about what Mirror House is and kind of the idea behind that and how Mirror House and my other brand Live a True Life are related. So I'll just get right into it. Mirror House, I think of it as a really a design company. I mean, we design everything. We design fashion products. We design branding and identity. We design hardware. We do work in the medical space. All the work that Mirror House does, though, the idea behind Mirror House is this idea of bringing technology closer to nature. I'm obsessed with this idea that as we go into the future, the design and understanding that design technology and these creations, these inventions that we have are just as much a part of nature as a tree, I think is going to become ever more present. And with that, I want to be ready for that, and I want to start to change my thinking of how do I how do I start to understand what does that mean if I change my thinking to understand that anything that we design or create is part of nature? How does that change the things that I do? And so, I start with, of course, small things. I can't boil the whole ocean, but in every design project, is there a little bit of nature that I can imbue in this, or is there some part of the process that doesn't seem quite in harmony with nature that we can imbue the process with? And I think little things like that ultimately over time are going to change the entire design process. It's going to change the way we design products and the way we think about designing products. And I'm here for that. I think that's my job as we go into the future. A young creative, a young designer, a young engineer. It's my job to usher in that complexity. How do we further complexify this thing we call technology, and how do we bring that closer in line with ourselves for the good? I feel like a lot of people are scared of technology growing. People are scared of AI. People are scared of all these things when really we don't have anything to be scared of. The only thing we have to be scared of is ourselves, really. If we can check ourselves, and if we can get our own actions and desires in lines, then we have nothing to be scared of. And so I hope to be able to usher that in and be part of the realm that brings that to fruition. Now, Live a True Life, I have another brand, which is a fashion brand called Live a True Life. And that's really, it's centering kind of around the same thing, but more focused on education. I wanted to have a brand where I could really talk about education, things that why are we educated to fear things like AI. This brand tackles propaganda that we see in our media. It doesn't verge on the edge of conspiracy, but what it does verge on is amount of knowledge that has been hidden or suppressed from the greater good, that could really amplify our ability to create meaningful experiences, to interact meaningfully with each other. And so I hope to be able to tackle, the education system, how we in America understand U.S. history. Obviously, that's relevant to the time right now. We're repeating a lot of stuff in U.S. history, but helping people understand where we've been, so that that old adage, so we don't repeat history, but giving people more of a perspective on history as it deals with race relations, as it deals with spirituality, as it deals with law and order, as it deals with societal roles. And so I want to be able to tackle all those things within Live a True Life. Now, if you go to the Live a True Life Instagram, or you see me posting on Instagram about Live a True Life, or some of the pieces, you'll see that our logo is Anubis, and Anubis the dog head. It's the Egyptian deity, and this deity was represented as the deity who would usher you one basically through the process of death. He would usher you to the afterlife. He was the god of death, and that might seem morbid. A lot of people, when I say that, they're like, "Man, that's morbid. That's dark." But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the Egyptians and a lot of cultures that precede ours had a completely different understanding of death. They had a completely different idea about what death meant. Death wasn't looked at as some kind of sad thing that we look at it with in American culture. It was looked at more of a transition. You're transitioning into another part of life. It was another part of life, and so this the idea behind having Anubis as the logo is that we will all transition into that part of life. And I think when we transition into that part of life, we want to make sure that we can comfortably transition. We want to make sure that we said, hey, we did everything while we were in this earth realm that we could do to be successful, or to get to push forth a purpose that was beyond ourselves. And so when we're getting ushered, into the next realm by Anubis, so to speak. And again, if you have any religious beliefs, obviously you can interpret this, through whatever lens is appropriate. But as we're getting ushered into that next level, or as we're transitioning through any part of life, we understand that, hey, it's not that we are being judged by something other than ourselves. We are going to judge ourselves. So if I'm going to judge myself, let me keep that judge on me at all times, so that I can say, hey, is this something that I want to do as I push forth towards an eternal existence? Is this something that, after I die, I'm going to be comfortable having, having a conversation with my usher into the next realm about? And so I think it gives us a little bit more, it puts it on us that we have a complete responsibility as individuals. All the little things that we do in our everyday life. I mean, all these things can add up to such, it's hard to describe, really, add up to such a magnificent difference that it's the power of each of these little things is really quite huge. So I try to think about that in my everyday life. Of course, none of us are perfect, but I think, having brands like Live a True Life and MIIRRROUSE House can imbue these characteristics and these traits into our society more. So I wanted to just make this video to explain that. And of course, if anybody has any questions, leave stuff down in the comments or ask me questions. If I was unclear on anything, please ask me questions. I'm sure I skipped over some things, but I would love to continue this conversation. So thank you all. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Love y'all. Peace.